Welcome to Locked In, where each week we'll be looking behind etceteras from all over the culture and diving into the backstories behind them. This week, we look at what happens when a name becomes a verb and iconic at the same time. There's no denying that the NFL is king in the US, and there are very few plays more exciting than a wide receiver going over the top of a defensive back to make a jaw-dropping catch. And nobody had the propensity for the unbelievable quite like Randy Moss. Moss entered the league in 1998 as a first-round pick for the Minnesota Vikings and immediately redefined what an elite wide receiver looked like, with 1,313 yards and a rookie record 17 receiving touchdowns that year. In a 2018 story with Bleacher Report, Moss's former teammate Ron Smith said that Moss was the best player and maybe the best athlete I've ever seen in person. And that was after the first day of Moss's rookie training camp. He was must-see TV from that point on. At 6 foot 4 inches with 4.2 speed, Moss used his height and speed to blow past defensive backs. And if by chance they were somehow able to stay stride for stride with him and actually cover Moss down the field, he would go up over the top for acrobatic catches that can only be described with one word: mossed. Randy was a phenomenon, and he became one of the few NFL players to ever receive a signature sneaker, joining the likes of Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders, and Michael Vick. And Randy was the first ever to do that with the Jordan brand. Yeah, the man nicknamed the Freak had his own pair of Jordans, the Super Freaks. In his first 8 seasons, Moss was able to record a reception of at least 60 yards every year, and they usually weren't able to be put into words. You just had to see them. Moss's ability to go over the top of defenders was so awe-inspiring that his name has now become a verb, synonymous with every spectacular catch you see on any level of football. Practically every great catch you see on somebody's head these days is someone getting mossed. Not Calvin, not Odell, not Rice, mossed. And nobody's complaining. It just feels right. Moss has become one of the most transcendent athletes in not just NFL history, but in all of sports. Randy has 9 seasons of at least 10 receiving touchdowns. And his 2007 campaign with Tom Brady, where he caught a record 23 touchdowns, might be his magnum opus and a career filled with unreasonable amounts of high points. These days, Randy even hosts a You Got Moss segment on ESPN's NFL Countdown show, where he reviews the top highlight catches over the week, not just across the NFL, but the entire world of sports. Getting Moss transcends all of that. You can get mossed by an overeager 12-year-old chasing a foul ball at a baseball game if you aren't on your toes. Since his retirement in 2012, we've seen star receivers such as Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., DeAndre Hopkins, and others make catches that have left fans scratching their heads and wondering what they just saw. And every time, after every great catch, the standard still remains the Freak, because there's only one Randy Moss, even if there's 1,000,001 ways to get mossed.